2 Chronicles 19, 1 through 11. Devotional focus verse. And Jehu, the son of Hanani, the seer, went out to meet him, and said to King Jehoshaphat, Shouldest thou help the ungodly, and love them that hate the Lord? Therefore is wrath upon thee from before the Lord. Nevertheless, there are good things found in thee, in that thou hast taken away the groves out of the land, and hast prepared thine heart to seek God. 2 Chronicles 19, 2-3. Unwise decisions can bring God's rebuke. Today's text indicates that Jehoshaphat experienced that, and I recall a time when I did as well. Several years ago, when I was in college, I became very good friends with a young man who attended school with me. We started as acquaintances who occasionally did projects together. We both were doing well academically, so it was natural to work together. He was intelligent, and we had deep conversations. He was an atheist and openly told me he hated Christians, but not you, he added. We slowly became closer as the year went on. We started sharing meals and making phone calls outside of school. Once he invited me to his house, telling me that he had never invited anyone there before because he was very private. He told me that he found me fascinating. As a single young woman, it was nice to have the attention and admiration of an intelligent and likable young man. At the end of my junior year, the two of us worked together on a junior project. It was a great success, and our professors gave us rave reviews, saying they had never seen a better junior project, and it was even better than most senior projects. We were flying high as we headed into summer break. I didn't see that young man for 3 months during the summer. I hadn't realized how close I had become to him until he left town. At first, I missed him dreadfully, but as time went on, and I drew closer to God, I realized what a danger he presented for me as a Christian. Gradually, I saw how careless I had been. By the time we returned to school for our senior year, God had shown me very clearly that I needed to separate myself from him, or I would fall spiritually. I couldn't do it halfway either. I had to completely stop being with him. Thankfully, God helped me put an end to our relationship in a respectful way. When King Jehoshaphat joined with Ahab, it was not according to God's will, because Ahab was ungodly. While God spared Jehoshaphat's life in the ensuing battle in today's focus verses, the prophet Jehu rebuked him for making such an alliance. Jehoshaphat could have fallen along with the ungodly Ahab, but God spared him in his mercy because Jehoshaphat had pleased God by destroying the implements of idol worship in the land. God showed me the same kind of grace when he revealed to me the danger of getting too close to a worldly man who could have impacted me spiritually. There is a lesson here for all of us. We need to use great care in choosing our close friends and associates, and make sure their spiritual values align with those God has put in our hearts, so our relationship with him is never compromised. Background information. This chapter continues the account of King Jehoshaphat of Judah that began in chapter 17. The previous chapter recorded how God prevented the slaying of Jehoshaphat in battle when the army of Syria surrounded him. In this chapter, Jehoshaphat returned safely to his house in Jerusalem, where he was rebuked by Jehu the prophet for his alliance with Ahab, verses 1-3. The remainder of the chapter, verses 4-11, describes the further reforms that Jehoshaphat instituted in Judah. Jehoshaphat should never have formed an alliance with Ahab and the kingdom of Israel. The fact that he survived despite his unwise decision is significant because it contrasts his preservation with ungodly Ahab's fate. Though the connection with Ahab would have further repercussions in Judah's history, God extended mercy to Jehoshaphat because he had cried out to God for help during the battle. 2 Chronicles 18:31. And because, according to verse 3 of today's text, there are good things found in thee. Two specific actions are noted that brought God's approval. First, Jehoshaphat took the groves out of the land, the wooden symbols of the female goddess Asherah, the consort of Baal. Secondly, he prepared his heart to seek God. The prophet who delivered God's rebuke in verses 2 and 3 was Jehu the son of Hanani. He is not to be confused with Jehu, who was the 11th king of Israel, 2 Chronicles 22. This prophet, Jehu, also announced a message of doom against Baasha, king of Israel, 1 Kings 16:7. Verses 4 through 11 relate that Jehoshaphat undertook further reforms in Judah by appointing judges throughout all the fenced cities of Judah. In doing so, he was following the example of Moses, who chose godly men to assist him in administering the civil affairs of the nation. See Exodus 18:21 and 22. Jehoshaphat commanded these appointees, to judge not for man, but for the Lord, who is with you in the judgment. Verse 6, indicating these men were accountable to God for how they judged others. The caution against having respect of persons, in verse 7, referred to showing partiality, and taking of gifts was a reference to bribery. According to verse 8, Jehoshaphat also appointed priests and Levites to assist in the administration of the laws. The solemn charges Jehoshaphat gave these judges is not recorded in the parallel accounts in 1st or 2nd Kings. It seems probable that the author of Chronicles chose to emphasize this good example of Jehoshaphat as a means of encouraging the leaders of the rebuilding community in Judah. Conclusion. Let us purpose in our hearts to be careful of the entanglements of this life that could draw us away from God.
2 Chronicles chapter 19. And Jehoshaphat the king of Judah returned to his house in peace to Jerusalem. And Jehu the son of Hanani the seer went out to meet him, and said to King Jehoshaphat, Shouldest thou help the ungodly, and love them that hate the Lord? Therefore is wrath upon thee from before the Lord. Nevertheless there are good things found in thee, in that thou hast taken away the groves out of the land, and hast prepared thine heart to seek God. And Jehoshaphat dwelt at Jerusalem, and he went out again through the people from Beersheba to Mount Ephraim, and brought them back unto the Lord God of their fathers. And he set judges in the land throughout all the fenced cities of Judah, city by city. And said to the judges, Take heed what ye do, for ye judge not for man, but for the Lord, who is with you in the judgment. Wherefore now let the fear of the Lord be upon you, take heed and do it, for there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, nor respect of persons, nor taking of gifts. Moreover in Jerusalem did Jehoshaphat set of the Levites, and of the priests, and of the chief of the fathers of Israel, for the judgment of the Lord, and for controversies, when they returned to Jerusalem. And he charged them, saying, Thus shall ye do in the fear of the Lord, faithfully, and with a perfect heart. And what cause soever shall come to you of your brethren that dwell in your cities, between blood and blood, between law and commandment, statutes and judgments, ye shall even warn them that they trespass not against the Lord, and so wrath come upon you, and upon your brethren, this do, and ye shall not trespass. And, behold, Amariah the chief priest is over you in all matters of the Lord, and Zebadiah the son of Ishmael, the ruler of the house of Judah, for all the king's matters, also the Levites shall be officers before you. Deal courageously, and the Lord shall be with the good.